Right, everybody, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. We'll be talking a huge Sandro Tonali boost. There's some talks about the midfield conversation, which seems like we're going to be talking about every day. There's also some other interesting news on Rashford. We'll be talking about the left back situation and a lot more. But the first thing, we'll start off by talking about the Sandro Tonali situation. So it came out from Craig Hope, who's a Newcastle reporter for the Daily Mail, and this is what he had to say. Manchester United are expected to make a formal approach to Newcastle for Sandro Tonali after the end of the season. Tonali is set to emerge as United's main target ahead of Anderson and Wharton. Bruno Fernandes is said to have added his support to an approach for Tonali and is impressed with the player. Tonali has been linked with every club from Barcelona to Real Madrid to Arsenal to City in a few weeks. But my information in the past 48 hours is that Manchester United are moving to the front of the queue. They are not considering a move for Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes. Sandro Tonali and United has gathered a lot of momentum in the past few days. Stores now expect United to make a formal approach in the next few days. And Sandro Tonali has been linked with many clubs, but United are front in the queue. So that's what's being said on Tonali at the moment. I mean, apparently he's asked to leave with the club if Magpies miss out in Europe. The gentleman agreement that could define Newcastle's transfer policy. So listen, I think Tonali is, and what has been reported, he would be leaving Newcastle. Now listen, Tonali, I think, is he my ideal choice? No, but again, he's someone who is very, very good. He's someone who I think that rate is heating up. He's going to have a lot of links with other clubs, which is standard. He's the main target. Is that Manchester United kind of not admitting, but looking at other options because they know that he's going to go to a different club. In terms of Anderson, he's bang on to go to Manchester City. That's why United are doing that, because for large parts of the last few weeks, the main target has been Anderson, and it has been for a while. Now, Tonali would love to move back to Italy if finances too, but there's almost no Italian team that can afford the fee or the wage. The Premier League or Madrid is a possibility that Tonali could go. So, listen, Guimaraes, there was a meeting, nothing was advanced. Tonali, I think he's higher than Guimaraes, but he's also very tough to get away because he would be higher priced. The players come to looking at options without necessarily forcing or agitating anything at this time. I think both Tonali and Guimaraes camp are aware that if one goes, the other one, so it's almost an internal race. There's a likelihood that even if Forest stay in the Premier League, Anderson leaves. It wouldn't all surprise me if formal talks with Forest don't start until towards the end of the season. As a consequence, Elliot Anderson would be off on international duty and may not decide his future until after the World Cup. United are in the race for talks for Anderson, City being the only competition. City can offer more money, but the player will make a decision based on the project. City are pushing, but United have already done the legwork and neither have had formal talks with Forest. So listen, I do like Anderson. We know that he's a top level player. I think he's someone for me who comes into this United team and improves it, but so does Tonali. And I think one thing that I've always been said, I'm happy that United are linked to these top level midfielders. I don't really care who we get. All the names that we've been linked to have been very, very good. Now on Wharton, there's talks about how Palace are trying to give him a new deal, but he is expected to leave the club. Listen, I think Anderson is the best choice in my opinion. Tonali is someone who's going to be very difficult to get out, but we know United are. This is where all the legworks begin. They'll be talking to Tonali's agents and him to try and agree personal terms. They'll be talking to a lot of other players to see what their kind of situation is. Now, Anderson, his deal's going to be delayed to after the World Cup, and I assume, I don't know if Italy are in the World Cup, but if Tonali is to go to the World Cup, that would be the same. That also obviously gives Manchester United the time to sort out the managerial situation and see what the project really is, because I'm sure if we keep Carrick and we get Champions League, we will be in a good position to attract players. But if we go out and get an Enrique or a Nagelsmann, I think that'd be something that is massively important in attracting those top level players. So yeah, on Tonali, I mean, there's a huge boost. United are apparently the front runners at the moment. It's a deal that I hope can get done. I think he's a top quality player, has a lot of ability, a lot of good qualities about him, and he's someone who I'd love to have at Manchester United in the Premier League. But yeah, I think that's a huge boost. It's definitely interesting. The price is going to be something that obviously we'll talk about in the coming months. But listen, we're in March now, and it's good United are beginning to get that legwork done. If you look at sort of last season with Cunha, we were starting to do the legwork again in these sorts of times and periods. So it's good that United are acting early. We're still sussing out all our options, but Tonali is someone who is highly rated. Now, Lewis Hall isn't going anywhere to my knowledge, and Newcastle are trying to get him to sign a new deal. It's not a player they are prepared to sell. And other left-back kind of talks, Lewis Skelly was mentioned, and this was being said. It's definitely true that United have had some talks for Miles Lewis Skelly. It's definitely driven from the player side in terms of getting more minutes. One of the reasons they want to investigate that is so he can play. United investigate that because he can play midfield as well as left back. With Balde is a Christopher Vell shortlist player. Spanish sources are convinced with Barcelona could have their arm twisted, yet sources nearer the player believe he's adamant he wants to stay. So the left back situation is one that's heating up. I mean, we know United want a left back and need one. I think that's something that we've known for a very, very long time. Who we go out and get is still undecided. There's no kind of names being mentioned. Lewis Skelly has been. And again, listen, Lewis Skelly is a good player. He's still relatively young. He's got a good sort of quality about him. He's got a lot of potential. He's someone who, for me, can go on and develop to be one of the best left backs in the world, and he's shown that at Arsenal. Now, again, the fact that he's not playing at Arsenal, which is a Premier League team, winning or challenging for the Premier League, is it a cause for concern? I don't think so. Now, again, I've seen people say, why would you get Lewis Skelly? You're funding kind of Arsenal's money to reinvest it. Listen, I think this is just a ploy to kind of get him more minutes at Arsenal, in my opinion. I don't think there is any intention for him to leave. I think he wants to stay at Arsenal long term. He's come through the academy. I think using United's name, how many times have we seen it before from players to get a new deal or what they want? Ruben Neves is the most recent example I can think of. Lewis Skelly would definitely be open. I'd love to have him at left back. As I said, he can also operate midfield, and that's where he was in the academy. But again, Arsenal are not going to let him go for 15-20 mil. I'll be very surprised if they do that. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Lewis Skelly is a viable option. He's someone who, as I said, got a lot of good qualities. He's got potential. We will have to wait and see what happens. Now, Maguire. The pitch for Maguire to stay is in fact that he's going to be integral for another year. That deal is agreed in principle. That makes United more intent to go out to the market by a young centre-back to find the player before they need them. And listen, centre-back is not a priority. I don't think it's on the list that United are looking at the moment. I think Harry Maguire, for me, we know his quality. I think his impact on the team is very, very important. And he's someone who, for me, his leadership is key. And I think keeping him a year at the club with the likes of Heaven, Euro still here, especially playing in European football where Maguire has a lot of experience, will be essential. So I'm hopeful that Maguire deal gets done relatively soon. It's going to be another year with an extra year, I believe. And again, just keeping Maguire at the club is vital. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. That has been your latest update. Don't forget to subscribe.